Good evening. Welcome to another live broadcast of the healing journey where we're on the learning journey. Yes, Lee and I, we're with you again this evening. Lee, would you like to say hello?
Good evening, everyone out there in Facebook Live land and all over the place, and now in Instagram land. It's so good to be here again with you, Lynn, and with our special guest. She's got so much to talk to us about today, and so we're just excited with all that she's going to bring to us tonight. So,
Yes, we are so glad to have Natalie Hill with us this evening. And before we introduce Natalie, we just wanted to go over a few things. This is the learning journey. So we like to keep you abreast of information and inform you. So on this journey, you know what you're dealing with. So did you know that the United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world? Now, what
yes.
does that tell you right there? The highest incarceration rate in the world. I bet you can't say that fast three times. Additionally, the increasing number of prisoners puts a major strain on state budgets. And when we talk about the state, that means that involves our officials. And this week, Lee and I were privy to do an interview with Commissioner Emily Bonilla. And she has a program, Emily Tells All. And we talked about what she's doing, and she's now with District 5 in Orlando. And it's a crucial role of the caregiver. She's starting to attack this social justice and the impact that it has on the caregiver. And she's wanting to support programs and promoting fairness and community advocacy within the criminal justice system in Central Florida. And she reached out to us, and it was so positive because now we feel that we're getting that support and we're in this together. So as we look at those high rates, mass incarceration in the United States, it's also a civil rights issue. If you didn't know it, yes, it is a civil rights issue. Many argue that incarceration dehumanizes poor people and minorities, damages already marginalized communities, and does not increase public safety. So I want you to keep those things in mind. Dehumanizes. And Natalie, she'll be able to touch on more of that. Also, we have the highest rate of juvenile incarceration. What does that tell you? Okay. Does it have to happen? Well, we have partnered with Florida Restorative Justice, and Florida Restorative Justice, they try to avoid incarceration by having the parents sit down together and coming to an agreement to avoid that. A lot of people don't know about that. So remember, we're on the journey supporting one another, and we want you to be informative of the different things that are out there. We've also been in touch, and we are looking forward to partnering with the Bail Project. Now, that is where they pay for your bail. These are the things that are so, that we find out that we want to bring to you to keep you in the loop. Help one, help another. We're helping you, so help another. And that is such a great thing. We want to introduce you to the multi-talented, faceted Natalie Hill, who is my sister in the psychology field. She is a mental health counseling intern, almost there. And she's also a minister. And she also is in the jails, seeing loved ones, seeing the inmates. And I want her to talk to you a little bit about what she does and the impact that she has on the inmates, which is helping the families. So, Natalie, welcome. We're so honored to have you as our special guest this evening. And, I like it because you're right in the jails. And when you're arrested, that's where you're going, to the jail. A lot of people look at the prisons, but the prisons are after you've been sentenced.
Right.
That's where you're going. So you're right there with the freshly arrested. Tell us about what you do and how you make an impact on the
Thank you.
community and helping out.
Thank you so very much for that lovely introduction. I tell you, these are my sisters that is here. in the trenches doing the work, creating the platform for us to be able to plug in and connect. Because as she mentioned, mass incarceration is real. It is real. And as I go into the jails and minister to the inmates, the thirst that they have for what we bring to the table. My organization is called Restoration Hope Global Ministry, and I've been doing this ministry and going in and counseling initially to just a couple of men. And I just saw the need and the hunger for the men that has been processed in the system, and there's such a thirst on their lives. They really are. They really are. They have been incarcerated, and sometimes not for things that was really severe. You know what I'm saying? It has not been severe charges. It's something very mediocre. And, and some of them are drug charges that now has been legalized in the system, and they have not been able to, because of the lack of resources, to get that stigma off of their lives. So as I go and minister to them, they are open with love. They love seeing Restoration Hope come in, because we don't only go in with the word, we go in with deeds and word. And that is certainly a part of my ministry. I am a Christian counselor by right, because that is certainly my assignment. But I have had the opportunity to be educated in receiving my master's in mental health counseling, and almost there, like my sister said, being called to serve. That's my assignment. I understand my assignment, and I walk in my assignment. It's not always easy going into uncharted territory,
Yes.
but I know that there's such a mandate on my life to be able to give them a hope. Because the thing of it is, they have lost hope in there.
Yes.
And I just want to, I'll give you a scripture that my organization operate in, and it's from Matthew 25:35-40. It says, in the word, because I believe in the word, and we all have the God that we serve. This is
Yes.
no judgment zone here. I welcome anybody and everybody to serve who they may, but this has just kept me. And it says, for I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison. I
And
was
you
in
listen, yeah.
prison and you came to me.
Amen.
My God, I can park right there, but I won't. I keep going. But that is one of the things that I have been called to do. And as I go in, we go in and we go in twice a month to serve. We have taken goods, we have taken Bibles, we have taken literature, we have taken greeting cards, we have taken T-shirts, we have taken things that they can use. Because sometimes some of them don't have what they need to even survive in that environment. So I know there is a remnant, and this remnant is on this platform today that has been called for this assignment. So I'm just glad to be a part of this. I really, really am. I really, really am. And I don't take the assignment lightly, because it's
Yeah.
just few of us that is doing this work. They have been left a lot of times with family connections. They have been left without communication on the outside of the society. And, it's just a very sad place. But I know what we're doing is profound. So we
Yes.
have to continue to walk in this assignment. And I just love it. I just really do love what I do. Not always easy, but I know that I don't go alone, if that makes any sense.
Amen.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, it's very real. It's very real. I've had the privilege of working on a committee board called Pinellas Remembers. And Brian Stevens is portrayed in the movie Mercy by Jordan. Is it Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, and he has worked tirelessly in that arena of trying to get people that has been unfairly unfairly
Hmm.
incarcerated by the system. And he has a museum, the Legacy Museum in Alabama, and he has done a great work in the communities, period, in this United States. So that's one person I encourage you to just kind of look up the legacy and what he has laid for the foundation and who we come from.
Hmm.
It says, my people are perished for the lack of a knowledge.
Knowledge.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's always good to visit history and where we come from, that we don't be robbed by that. And it's not only about us, it's about the generation behind us to be
Yes.
able to
That's
know
right.
where we come from and our ancestors and the groundwork that they have laid for us. So when we get ready to pass the mantle to the next generation, they will not be going in blind to what we're, you know what I'm saying, what we're encountering even in this season.
Yeah.
It's nothing new under the sun, but we have to be well informed, well equipped, well knowledgeable enough to be able to operate in this society, if
Yeah.
that makes any sense. Yeah. But I'm very, very, very privy to be able to be a part of not only Christian counseling, but be able to do the clinician part of it.
Hmm.
That's profound because we have a lot of unresolved issues that we have
Yes.
carried over to this adult life. We have to go back and tear those layers back, go back to the root of the situation in which we come to be able to write our own narrative.
Yeah.
What we're dealing with. I think after the pandemic hit, we all was in isolation for a couple of years. We never been there for us. We never been there. Those were unfamiliar territories. And I think we all came out of the box, in survival mode. It's so funny. I called myself before the pandemic hit. I said, Lord, I'm going on a sabbatical. I need to restore. Okay. I need to renew. I need to replenish. I need to, do something for me. And I thought to myself, I didn't know you was going to shut the whole globe down with me.
Hmm.
He heard
won't,
you.
won't he
He
do it?
did. He
He
did.
did.
So,
Yes.
there's a lot of issues we're dealing with our mental, and I often ask that God will be Lord over my mind because this is where the battle starts.
The mind regulator.
Yes. So we need to know how to seek that help that we need. It is, we can very easily fall into depression and isolate ourselves. It's
Yeah.
not good to isolate ourselves. And that's why I love this platform so because it's giving us a safe place to share our innermost feelings and how we need to journey through this thing together because we cannot do it alone. My most important modality that I use, that I address, is grief. There's a lot of grief.
Yes.
There's a lot of grief in the world today. It is not just only losing a loved one, or family member. You got grief with people you losing homes and losing houses and losing
Yes.
cars and lose. That is grief.
Yes.
It's grief.
Yes.
People are just trying to survive, losing jobs and all the above. So that is one of the things that lies dear in my heart. I deal with a lot of people with anxiety and fear and PTSD and trauma. And it's not easy for people, but they need to know, and we're here to let you know that there's resources for you to be able to have a safe place to share your most innermost feelings. And that's what we're in need of. Yes.
Natalie, can I asked you a question. I'm so sorry. You just brought up something that's so important, and I see that someone put it on there. The mental issues. How does that impact the prisoners that you see? Those who are arrested, and you're talking with them, and you said some things earlier. How do the mental issues, when you're talking with them, praying with them, can you pick out some of those issues that might have of stemmed from early in childhood and now they're manifesting, such as anger and things of that nature? Can you just touch on that for a moment?
A lot of that comes from isolation. A
Yes.
lot of that comes from
Wow.
incarceration.
Mhm.
My thing is encourage them to be my brother's keeper, be
Yes.
my sister's keeper.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? I go in there to build up that there's
Yes.
still hope, and they have been set apart for such a time as this, so they can still be the catalyst whenever they get processed out. Still be the catalyst for their family and their friends. A lot of times, some of those inmates are so in tune with the Bible and the Word of God. They know
Yeah.
that word better than you do. You know what I'm saying? So to deal with that, I always just encourage them and encourage them to love on each other. You know what I'm saying? Because I know all these things that come up when it comes to isolation and,
Yes.
and losing hope and losing your life, so to speak, because they feel like, they'll never defeat or come out of that with a sane mind. And
Yes.
I often, encourage them to stay safe, but stay sane.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
always praying over their mind that they will be kept and transformed by the renewing of their mind.
Yes, that's so important. Another thing I wanted to touch on, and maybe you can touch on this, is the emotional impact on the caregivers, on the loved ones of those recently arrested or incarcerated, because now our group has both. We're here for both. A lot of times there's a financial impact, there's a parenting impact, and there's the emotional impact where there's anger from the loved one. How do they, it's really hard for them to, they struggle with anger and resentment of the person who is arrested. And you know as well as I know that that can play heavy on the arrested. So what do you suggest is good for a loved one to support their loved one on the inside? What are some interventions they can use, because to get rid of the anger and resentment, because remember, you got to keep your loved one pumped up at all times, but who pumps you up?
Who
So
pumps
are
you
there
up?
any things mental health wise that the parents can do to lessen the emotional impact?
And one thing about addressing anger, period, and they do have other ministries that come in that
Yeah.
do anger management and have groups. I suggest that for even their
One.
loved ones to
Yes.
be able. There's resources out there. We would take the advantage to explore the resources for caregivers. For folks that are going through anger management, there are mental health clinicians out there that can address that. For a
Yeah.
long time, we have plugged into the spiritual perspective, but it's some things that need to be addressed, like I say, from adolescence.
Yes.
And sometimes that stuff is still ported over to now. There's a lot of anger stuff that was not resolved back then.
Exactly.
Until you can find a group or resources that can help you. Life coaches are profound, and you got
Mhm.
different ones that are, specialized in caregiving and anger management.
Yes.
It's groups out there and organizations out there that have been able to give scholarships in order
Yeah.
to support folks that are dealing with anger management, life coaching help, or mental health counseling issues. So I suggest just going and doing your research. This is about your self care. And until you can plug into who and what you need for you, you can't pour out of an empty cup.
Amen. And that is so true. I know that, I'm reading some of the comments here. How can the outside world give hope when they have been incarcerated 20 plus years besides praying? Some are not fortunate to have a counselor such as yourself.
I know.
So, besides praying, are there any other things that, people can do that will keep them on the up and up.
On the up and up. And I know, people lose hope in prayer and we think God is not answering
Yes.
us in a timely manner, but there's a season for everything.
Yes,
And
it
I
is.
understand, and I have a friend that has a loved one that has been uh, locked up for 20 years or plus, but we have to seek out the resources. We have to follow through. There's life coaches to help you journey through this situation. We cannot help because the systemic in that whole prison arena is very complicated to
Yeah.
address. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get what you need from the inside, I think. They're looking for mental health counselors in the
Yes, they
jail
are.
system. They're looking for life coaches in the jail system. They're looking for medical physicians in that whole system because we need it on the outside. So
Hmm.
there is a shortage of getting what you need, but you have to plug in like a platform like this in order for us to give you the resources that you need. I
Yeah.
know it plays havoc on the mind. I know, but the only thing we can do, because we're up against a system that is a beast. I got
Yeah.
to call it for what it is. It
It is.
really is.
It is.
It's
It
not
needs a
easy.
complete reform. I
It
agree. Yes.
So I'm glad you have these the vehicles that we can use and the resources and the collaborations that you have with other people to help get it to the people. So I don't want anybody to give up hope.
Yes.
As long as we are breathing, clothing, in our right mind, we still got a chance to fight. It's a fight,
Yes,
but
it
you
is.
just got to know that you're not fighting by yourself.
And that
Amen.
is so important what you
Yes,
said.
it is.
Another thing from a mental health standpoint, from a psychology standpoint, is to watch the negative emotions.
That's good.
You can always put a negative spin on things, but learn to turn that negative into a
Into a
positive.
positive.
That is so
Mhm.
And you
awesome.
can use three letters to do it: BUT. This happened, but hope is on the way. This
That is so
happened,
good.
but you have
Mhm.
to learn to turn that negative emotion because negative emotions keep you going downhill. But when you use that BUT, you're going right back up again.
Mhm.
And
That is so
that is
good.
so important for that to happen. Also, one great area to start is through chaplaincy and prison ministry groups. Yes, that is important. And Natalie, you know very well about that, about the chaplaincy and the prison ministry groups. I feel, and I don't know if you two agree, but I think that more community leaders that get involved in the restructuring
So good.
and of our criminal justice system,
So good.
that is what's needed, that
So good.
impact, because you have um so many areas that need to be touched in there that aren't being touched. Maybe it's because it's state
Yeah.
owned. I don't know. We haven't gotten that far, but we are trying to create a free platform right here to help and support you. You can always inbox us. A lot of people, Natalie, and Lee, they don't want their names out there. They want it to be a private thing. Inbox us. We can support you.
Mhm.
Let us know your
Mhm.
journey. And we thank God for the ones that go ahead and let us know what they're going through because we're able to assist them and walk them through the most difficult time. As you said, grief of a relationship, the loss of that. I suffer with that.
Mm.
It's 12 years, so I understand. And it's keeping myself up on this 12-year journey. No, it's not easy. So, Natalie, you touch those
Mhm.
lives, and we thank you for the work that you do, even going into the jail.
It's a process.
Sometimes it's a process. There could be an
It's not
uprising, it could
easy.
be anything.
It's not easy.
It's
It's
not
not
easy.
easy. It's
So
not
you have to
easy.
cover yourself constantly before you go in because when God sends you out on a mission, sometimes we have to cover ourselves and make sure no weapon formed against us shall prosper as we go out to do his work. So that is so important. Are there any other important things that you see in the jail when you're dealing with the inmates? We know that the first thing that they learn in there sometimes is that manipulation. 101.
Spirit of
The
manipulation.
spirit of manipulation.
Absolutely. That's why it is such a process, and even as volunteers going in, that you be well informed of the manipulation, that it don't allow them to get to you in such a way that you can be pulled out of character. And something I just really want to hone in on that you said, and the thing of it is, we have to have, you said a but, but life invests in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have to be very careful of the what we put in the atmosphere, because guess what? The adversary hear you too.
Exactly.
He hear you
That's
too.
right.
Yes, but it's been 25, 30 years and I've had to deal with this. And, other than praying, it's a very, very strategic system that the stronghold has to be pulled down. But we can't do that as an individual. He said, when one or two are gathered in his name, there he will be in the midst. That's why I'm so
Always.
glad he's in the midst of this broadcast. I'm so glad that we have him as the center,
Yes.
whoever that may be to you, the center of what we're dealing with,
Yeah.
and the thing of it is, a shift is really taking place, because the veil is being coming off our eyes, and things are being exposed. So therefore, the things that are happening in a natural realm uh, is really being attacked from a supernatural realm.
Yes.
If that makes any sense. But we have to be very careful about what we speak into the atmosphere. We're going to have to
Exactly.
speak love. We're going to have to speak forgiveness. We're going to have to speak that my child will be released
Yes.
such a time. We have to do affirmation. We
Yes.
have to write the vision and make it plain.
Yes, we
These
do.
are some of the things and some of the biblical perspectives that we need, and I'm so glad that you said that inboxes,
Yes.
talk to us,
Yes. We're
let
here.
us journey along with you.
Yes.
Let me tell you something, because of who we are in the mental health arena, it's all safe. It's a safe place to share.
Yes, it is.
That's
It
It's a
so
is.
safe
important.
place to share.
It is. It is.
I'm
We're
sorry.
transparent. Lee and I have been very transparent on our journey. And that's why God, He has us to do this to help others. No one left behind. You
No,
know, you're talking about the mental health, and we know that we have to keep positive in all things. We have to get rid of those cognitive distortions, as this will never happen, that will never happen.
right.
Well, once you change your lens and you refocus and look at
That's
things
it.
differently, it changes the mindset. And somebody put on here that the system focuses on retention. Yes, it focuses on recidivism, where they'll get out, they can't get a job,
And
they
come
can't vote,
back.
they haven't do anything, and well, guess what happens? They go right back in. Okay,
Hmm.
so why do you think these large corporations are helping to invest in the prison system? There's free labor, as
It's
someone put on
really,
here. There is free labor. We have to look to the well-being of the prisoners. Yes, we do, and that's why now they are starting to look at it. Where is the rehabilitation on the inside? Is it there in these prison systems? Because to my knowledge, in some of the prisons, they are locked down because they don't have enough correction officers. There are things that happen. A fight can break out, and this can break out. They can't shower on daily. It's a lot that goes on. It's a lot that goes on the inside. That, do I have factual information about that? It is told to me. So, I don't want to put it out there, because this could be in South Carolina, it could be in LA,
everywhere.
it could be everywhere. And as we look at it, Texas is the number one in incarcerations, then California. And guess who's number three?
Florida.
Florida. Number three in incarcerations.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, that's what's going on. And do the research. There's so much research out there, Natalie, and I know you know that. And it's so much research out there on the criminal justice system and the things that go on. And just, if you have a loved one on the inside, ask them what goes on in there. Ask them how often they're locked down. What are the reasons they're locked down for? Ask them. They will tell you. Those are the things that are important. And also, lack of knowledge. You mentioned that our people perish for a lack of knowledge. So when this happens to a loved one, come pick me up, I've been arrested. Lack of knowledge. Where do you go? Who do you call? You know nothing about the jail and the court process. A lot of us don't. It's your first rodeo. It's difficult. You feel helpless. Difficult. The paperwork is difficult. Okay. Do I use this lawyer or that lawyer? The who, what, when, where, and how are all difficult. You're in a place that you have never, ever been in before. I've been there. Lee has been there. She supported me, so now we support you.
That's good.
We're here. And many times your loved ones on the inside are deprived of their human rights. And we said that before. It's dehumanizing.
Yes.
It's dehumanizing. Look at the numbers. I challenge you all to just look at the numbers and then break it down by age groups and things of that nature. Blacks, browns, whites, Hispanics. Just break it down and see what is being done out there and get involved. Volunteer, support someone. There's so much going on these days. We have to actively support each other. And another thing we have to do, Natalie, we need to vote, not just for presidential. We need to vote for our county leaders, because that's on the county side in the state. That is when things get changed. When you cast your vote.
That's so true.
You have a right that was given to you. Make sure that you utilize that right.
Exercise that right.
Lee, would you like to ask any questions?
Minister Hill said something, and I think it's so important because it feeds to all of what we do here and how we try to work with helping each other and stuff. Because, today for me, tomorrow may very well be for you. And some of the stuff that might not be right in front of you at this particular time, but tomorrow may come and some of this might be important. So we have to if we just listen to it a little bit and just make some mental notes, because we don't know when we're going to use this. But I remember she said there's beauty in the struggle.
Yes.
You're not alone. We're all in this thing together.
Yes.
And one thing we talked about, we were talking about a little earlier or so, and it kind of stayed with me. And also, and maybe we need to talk about it a little bit more in another session or so, and maybe have her back, is that anger management. Because she's seeing them when they first come in. She's seeing them in the jail setting.
Yes.
And certainly they're frightened, but they're very angry also.
Yes.
Sometimes if we can touch or feed or kind of catch them at that area right there and do something to help, sometimes it might ease the process going farther along or so. And it's not only going to help the inmate, so to speak, or hopefully they won't become that inmate, but that's going to help that caregiver, because that caregiver to the incarcerated person, you are the counselor.
Yeah.
So you want to help them in every way that you possibly can to get to the place that they need to be and stuff. That anger management, anger is a beast, and it causes so many other problems along the way. Stuff. So if we can address that and do something about that, because as Minister Hill said, sometimes that anger goes all the way back to childhood. So it might be the reason how they got there in the first place.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they've been angry in the beginning or at an early age, and they're angry coming into the system, let's try to do something so that if they have to go through the system, that they won't come out being angry also. It's got to stop somewhere.
Yeah.
So anger management is something maybe we need to address a little bit more along the way. So maybe we need to do some sessions on that.
Profound.
I just feel have so much information. This is great information.
Yeah, it's great information. The job that you do going in the inside, because basically there's a need in Orange County to strengthen the community-based system to support the loved ones of the incarcerated. And when you look, there's a need. So the things that you do, you're supporting Orange County. The things that
Mhm.
we do, we're supporting Orange County. We would like this to be a national organization to
Awesome.
support the loved ones. That is our goal.
That is awesome.
We took God out of the box and we said, okay, God, this is needed from our lessons learned.
I love
This
this.
is how this came about. We need to help others along the journey and support them. And that is what you're doing. You give so much free support because you don't get paid for it.
No, ma'am.
You don't get paid for this.
I
Wow.
know. I
And
know.
that is what is so awesome. You
Yes,
will be
you're right.
truly blessed for what you are doing,
Thank you for that.
to help out the loved ones.
Yeah, thank you for that.
It's showing your humanity
Yes,
and
ma'am.
your human side. And
Mm,
that is so awesome. And you really have to have humility
yes, you
to
do.
do this.
Yes, you do.
It
Mhm.
is something. Someone put in there, incarceration festers and compounds that anger. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Anger festers and grows. So
Yes,
you
it does.
have to get to the pinnacle, to the pit of the anger. And you have to excavate those roots of that
Right,
anger.
right.
So that is so true. And also, I'm sure that you see this too, that the loved ones, as we said before, they're going through some emotional things and they become angry. Why did you
Right,
do this to me? This
right.
is the time to support. And it's hard because the loved ones have to release their anger for so much that they go through.
That's so true.
Has there been one case that you've dealt with or somebody that you've counseled with on the inside that really left a mark on you or really left you with, wow, you smile?
Wow. That
Yeah.
is so profound because the spirit is all over me when you said that.
Yeah.
This is one gentleman that I counseled for a year. He came out doing great things. He came out with a job. He came out with
Yeah.
his mind restored. He
Yeah.
came out being a proud grandparent. He's been out about 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So what I was assigned, that was my assignment
Amen.
initially going in.
I love
When
it.
he came and have not been back, he was in and out, in and out, in and out. You know what I'm saying? But he came out doing a great work. Now he's the catalyst that his family looked to. He's the catalyst that his wife looked to. He's the catalyst on impacting his children and his grandchildren. So it's a beautiful thing.
Isn't that something?
It's a beautiful thing to be able to see it manifest. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so elated that he said, if you just touch one, you
There
know,
you
Mm,
go. Only
mm.
one.
I'm a part right there. I will
Okay.
because I
And you
got.
had your hand on that one. Okay.
Mm.
But
Woo.
it was something that Lee said, or someone, communication. I think it was either of you said something about communicating with them to see where they are in the system.
Yes.
Keep those lines of communication
Open.
open. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? One of the things that I encourage you to tell them is to empower themselves. They got law books in the jail,
Yes.
all kinds of
Right.
material and reading materials that they need empower them about their rights and where they need to go and what they need to do. So they don't have to be stagnated. They can seek out the resources that they need to empower them to know their rights, learn about their rights, learn about
Mhm.
what I need to do when I get out into society. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
it.
We don't have to totally rely on the system to educate us when they have the materials right there.
And we don't have to be a
Yeah.
part of that recidivism.
Yes. I just want to touch on that. You know, my father used to always say that your masterminds are behind bars.
Wow.
Okay. There's a
They
lot of
are.
wisdom behind bars. Do
Yes, it
you
is.
know that some institutions are preventing them from going into the law library now?
Wow. I didn't
Either
know
they're
that.
being on lockdown or things of that nature. That has been brought to my
Oh,
attention.
wow. Okay.
So, there's a lot. There's a
There's a
lot
lot.
going on in the
There's,
system that
there's a
needs
lot
to
going
be,
on.
there's a lot going on because why make them smarter by teaching them the laws? they have been able to put class action suits and things of that nature because these guys and women are researching things and bringing up class action suits and things of that nature. So I don't know if the restrictions are still going on, if they are, what's going on, if they're purposely done that way. I don't know,
Okay.
but it's something
Okay.
to ask your loved one. How
Mm-hmm.
often are you able to go in the law library at
Mm-hmm.
your prison where you are? And it says, if we represent Jesus for real, Matthew 25:35 through 40 should be our mandate every day. Yes, we are to represent God and let them see the light in us. You
Yeah,
know, this little light of mine, I will let it shine. Let them see the light in us. And that is what is so important. Are there any
that's
other
the fix.
questions out there?
Can I say one other thing before you
Yeah.
move on? And the thing of it is, even me or the grief that I've been through or going through, whether it comes to family, whether it comes to friend and lost relationship, job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One of the greatest tools that I've learned to do is to serve. And when I serve, it's such self gratification. So
Yes.
don't get so stuck
Yes.
in what you don't have, but be able
Mm.
to sow into somebody else's life. Because
Mm-hmm.
guess what? The seeds that you plant, the seeds that you sow, has to be manifested.
Yes.
So
Yes.
keep that in mind when we're going through grief about loss and this, that. Go serve.
Yeah. Go,
Go
sir.
serve.
That's
Yeah.
it.
There's enough
That's
to
it.
do, as I heard you say, even leadership in the community, there's a great need in that whole arena.
Yes, it is.
There's a great need to empower our people mentally and
Yes.
let them know that hope is not dead and is still alive.
Yes. 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 And
Because
that
we
is
got to
so
position
important.
ourselves all over
Yes,
also.
we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Lee. And we don't know where God is taking us on this journey, but you know what? We got our seatbelts on, we got our Bible in our hand, and we on the
Mhm.
journey. We are ready. Where he
Learning
leads,
along the
I
way.
will follow.
That's right.
And that's what we said. Where he leads, I will follow.
That's right.
So, we don't know where he's going to take the organization, but he is opening doors for us that we're just amazed
That's
at the
amazing.
timing. God has some awesome timing, and that is what is important. There's another comment. They do not want inmates to act on what they learn from law books. Fishers of Souls prison ministry based on Mark 1:17. I will make you fishers of men. Thank you, Ruth, for that, because that is exactly. They don't want you to act on that. They come up with things
No.
where you're on lockdown. What are you on lockdown for now? I mean, what? Well, this happened and that happened. It's all in an effort to keep them out learning. They don't want to keep them. You know, they don't want them to learn too much.
Right. Right.
A mind is powerful.
Yes, it is.
It is powerful.
It is powerful.
It is
It
powerful.
is
The mind
powerful.
is the most important thing on the body. That's why Satan is after it, because it is powerful. So we have to guard this, and we have to teach our inmates, our family members, to guard this. Put on the full armor.
That's right.
And that is important. So we just thank everybody for being on here today. The word tells us that you reap what you sow. Let's not look at it as always negative, because it applies to making life better for someone else.
That's
Exactly.
Right.
And that is one thing that we teach in counseling. When I ask you 3 things about yourself, you can always come up with the flaws, 1, 2, 3. But your strengths, you have a problem in listing your strengths. So let's look at the positive and not the negative. And
right.
that is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Any closing words, Lee?
Well, Minister Hill also mentioned Brian Stevenson.
Yes.
So I encourage everyone, if you, in your leisure, if you would, he's an American lawyer. He has a story of justice and redemption.
Yes.
Read his book if you can, Just Mercy. It's a memoir.
Awesome.
If you have time, pick it up, read it. we got to keep growing. We can't take things at face
Right,
value. We
right.
got to dig down in there and get to the place where we need to be, so we'll know exactly what's going on, because they'll
Exactly.
tell you anything, but you
That's
got to read and you got to know for yourself, not only in this, but in everything in life.
that's so true. That is so.
Knowledge is power.
It's power. It
Knowledge
It
is
is
is.
power.
power. You are so right. Knowledge is power. So we try to empower you every other Monday by giving you some facts, giving you some interventions to help you while you're on the journey.
Yeah.
Help us help you. Help us help you. Let us know what you're dealing with. We thank you for some. We had some inmates, prior inmates, that were incarcerated, and they are following us. And we like that because they're able to tell the real story from the inside. And
Mhm.
that is important as well. And it keeps us, engaged in what's going on. And we are stronger together.
Together.
That's right.
And I'm sure with
Yeah.
the events over the last week, we are powerful together.
Yes, we are.
So together we can fight this thing and change the system. And that is what is needed. So again, we thank you, Natalie, for being with us
Of course.
today. God
Of course.
bless
Thank you,
you
Minister
Bless
along
Hill.
your
you. Of
journey.
course.
And we cover you in the blood of Jesus. We
Yes.
we just
Mm.
thank you for what you're doing for our loved ones
Yes,
who are
thank
in
you.
on the inside.
Absolutely.
An
Yeah.
awesome mission. You're an awesome woman of God. And we just thank you so much for
Mhm.
being with us.
So much. I love you guys to eternity. I really, really do. This
Thank
was such a privilege for me. You just wouldn't even understand, to be able to collab with someone that is in the trenches really doing the
you.
work,
Oh, yeah.
and to get in on the ground floor, because
Yeah.
I see him taking you to nationally, internationally, to do this work, because this thing is happening all over the globe. So
Yeah,
thank you
it
so
is.
much for that.
I thank you. I thank you. And, we will see you on 2 weeks from now. We'll
2 weeks
see you
from
on
now.
the 28th on Monday. And we just thank you for being with us. We
Mhm.
thank you
Of
for
course.
partnering with us. We
Of
thank you
course.
for following us. And you know what? If you know someone out there that is struggling, please, please, please let them come, and so we'll support them. We
Yes.
just need to know what you're dealing with. Help us so we can help you. And that is our motto. We're on the learning journey. We're learning as we go.
I
Because
love it.
don't think that we're not in it. We're in the thick of it. Like Natalie said, we're in the trenches with you. So
Mhm.
help us help you. All right. Good
Mhm.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
everyone.
guys.